on the top of the screen.
To paraphrase, Bob told the people waiting to greet Benny in heaven that more than likely, BP will be a little late because he probably stopped to talk to someone along the way. That was Benny. Today, our salute to BP, a man who truly brought pride to NASCAR.
Today's Grand Marshal, 1973 NASCAR Winston Cup Series champion, Benny Parsons.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Benny Parsons started every race and every day the same way to make sure he got the most out of every mile. As a racer, he was intense as they come. He might give you an inch here or there, but he was just as likely to steal it from you as well. He won races in respect the old-fashioned way. He earned it, and sometimes he took it. But when the checkered flag flew and the emotion settled, Benny was a buddy to just about everybody. After he retired, Benny never won a race, but he never lost a friend. Once you met BP, you were a member of his team for life. And I'm willing to bet, beyond. You can add up his wins, marvel at his success, and applaud his achievements, but you could not measure his heart. I'll never forget Benny as a racer, but I will always remember him as a person. Now, before we get too far into the show, the big guy and I want you to know that we are thrilled because today we are calling our first Daytona 500.
Yes.
Now, your dream came true here 27 years ago yesterday.
And Bill, it changed my life forever. Before that, I was introduced as Benny Parsons. He's a race car driver. After that, here's Benny Parsons. He won the Daytona 500.
Benny was an original. His caring and his charisma were carved into his personality as a boy growing up in the country. As a broadcaster, well, television wasn't made for Benny, but it certainly seemed that Benny was made for television. His booming voice louder than the roar of the engines, his smile brighter than the most powerful lights. We have a tough job here tonight. We have to introduce a race that needs no introduction.
Well, you're struggling. Let me help you out a little bit. BP, welcome. What are we doing here? Thank you very much, Bill. Why are we here? We're here because 147,000 people show up this Saturday night. This is where we all came from. If you're a race fan, if you've been following this sport, that's why you're watching, that's why you're here.
BP didn't live at the track, but his life revolved around the sport. He was at home in the garage where he knew all about the cars, but he wanted to learn more about the people. Their stories fueled his passion. The race was always important, but for Benny, it was the people that powered the sport. Even when he was working, he was really playing with the people he knew best and the people that loved him the most. At the track, in the garage, on the air, with his colleagues or the competitors, life was more important than racing. And with his unmistakable laugh, when it came to having fun, you knew Benny was always on the pole. Humor was his horsepower, and he was thrilled to take you along for the ride.
I can't feel a thing with these gloves on me.
But there were two rides Benny enjoyed the most. His 1975 victory in the Daytona 500 and the season finale in Rockingham, where he clinched the series championship in 1973. A moment and a memory he was able to relive with our crew in 2003.
A 1973 Winston Cup champion, Benny Parsons. Can you hear me?
Wally, I got you. How about this, huh?
Is that cool or what, boy? They love you here, Benny.
This is so cool. And you know, Wally, I had got pit crews that offered to pit this car if I would run all day.
Hey, if you want to drop the hammer, you got my vote.
I better not. I better come out and keep you company.
And even when the season was over, you could probably find Benny behind the wheel. Growing up, he spent a little time driving a taxi cab in Detroit. That experience came in handy just a few years ago, trying to get host James Woods to the NASCAR awards ceremony in a December snowfall. He loved a round of golf, a glass of wine, a good joke, a little magic, and a big race. But to many, nothing was bigger than BP in stature and style. We are so grateful that we share the many miles and smiles with our champion. From rural North Carolina to the big night in the Big Apple, he did get the most out of every mile. In a sport born by moonshine, Benny Parsons will always be a ray of everlasting sunshine.